Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. My name is Meg, and I am the writer of the blog Her Fine Mess. And just like that, this is probably going to be a mess. I'm not a YouTuber, I'm a writer, and I love to talk to people about RVing, face to face, online, whatever. So I was really excited when I was going to be able to speak to women and those who love their women about solo RVing. But unfortunately, because of circumstances, we weren't able to do that. So I'm trying my best to give you guys the information that you might be interested in, the best way that I know how as a writer and not a professional YouTuber. And I'm just gonna go for it because at this point, I can't record this another 15 times. Anyway, let me just get into it. You guys can read a little bit more about me on my blog. Number one, I'm gonna give you guys 10 tips, okay? Number one is that you do not need to be single to solo. I am a married woman. I have older stepchildren. I have 2 Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, Teddy and Pippa, who I travel with a lot. And then I have 2 Maine Coon cats. And up until, I don't know, 5 years ago, I guess I would say, I was an English teacher. So I'm very comfortable talking to students and being in front of people and talking in general. And I don't know, I just started like finding a love of RVing. And so I went to an RV show here in Denver and I just started talking to people. And I found out that, wow, I really do have an interest in RVing and I love talking to people in the RV community about RVing. So I told my husband, I was like, hey, I think I want to quit my teaching job and I want to start a freelance business and I want to go out on the road and I want to write about my experiences as a woman on the road. And he's like, okay. And back when I was talking about doing this, like there was no such thing as van life. RVing was not so big like it is today, right? And so a lot of people thought, well, she's lost her mind. And, will your husband let you do this? Yes, you don't have to be single to solo. You do need to have the support of the people that love you. That is important. But how do we make it work? So for me, both my husband and I work from home and he travels a lot. Right now, he's on the road. Well, before the COVID, he was on the road 4 to 5 days a week out of state. And because I'm a freelancer, I write mostly for the RV community, not on my blog. That's why my blog suffers, FYI. I have a lot of things I want to talk to you guys about, but I've not written it down because I'm writing articles for other people about RVing. So anyway, I wanted to go out on the road and I just figured, well, why not? And so he and I travel together as much as we possibly can. We have a Class A motorhome, and when we can, when he has time off, we go do things together. And then when he is traveling, if I get the itch, which is a lot, then I hop in my rig, and right now I have an Airstream base camp, and I go and explore areas in Colorado. I go down to Arizona quite a bit because that's where my family is located, and I've driven as far across the country as Michigan, so that's as far as I've gone on my own. But mostly I do like little weekend trips, or I'll go during the week and find a place where there's a great cell signal, and I'll work from my little rig, and I'm just so happy inside. So, if you're thinking about solo RVing, I want you to know that we're everybody. Solo female RVers are everybody. We're married, we're single, we're widowed, we're divorced, we're in a partnership, whatever. But we like to go out and have a little bit of time on the road. And so if you're any of those categories, you're in the right place. So you shouldn't feel bad if you're not single and you want to take your RV out by yourself once in a while. I'm gonna give you some tips on that, okay? All right, so number 2 is that it's okay to be scared because we all do dumb stuff. I posted a blog on this today actually, and it referenced something that happened a couple of years ago during my cross-country road trip. And you guys, I'm a hot mess. That is why this blog that I write is called Her Fine Mess. There's nothing about RVing in it. It's just, I'm a mess. And sometimes bad things happen. And I want you guys to know that if you're scared, it's okay. It's actually good to be scared, because if you're scared, then you're going to be a little bit more cautious and you're going to kind of like learn from your mistakes. And trust me, we all make them. And so go to my blog. I don't want to retell stories that I've already told, but I had a couple of experiences that pretty much at one point I thought, I'm done. I'm not RVing anymore. I was ready to hang up my hat. My husband's like, don't be ridiculous. He knew that I wasn't like really meaning it, but at that moment I was really scared, and I think I really did mean it at that time. So if you're scared, it's okay. I'm going to give you some tips about how to handle things a little bit and maybe try to overcome your fear a little bit. But to me, I think a good amount of fear it's a healthy thing. All right, number 3. So I'm giving you guys some of the things that, like, when other women talk to me, kind of the things that they ask me. So that's the topics that I'm covering today. Emergency preparedness pack. I have a handy dandy clipboard if you guys are wondering what I'm looking at. So before you get on the road, I suggest that you have an emergency preparedness pack. Now, this is not like emergency items like Band-Aids and things like that. This is, before you go, you want to make sure that you've got something where you've got your roadside assistance. And you guys, if you're a member of FMCA, you need to have the roadside rescue. You need to have your personal, like your medical insurance. You need to have your vehicle insurance. And you need to have anything that you might need while you're on the road, such as, like, what does your warranty cover? If something happens to your RV and you do get towed somewhere, are you using all of the tools that you have to make the right decision to get towed to the correct place? Because, a lot of our new RVs, those come with like service plans, like where you're covered for a certain amount of time under one plan and then it rolls over another. So just be aware of like who to call under what circumstances, and make sure you've got all of that in one spot, because if it's not all in one spot, if something happens, it's just going to be like, you're not going to know where to look. And if you've got everything, I have this cute little wallet that has little RVs all over it, and I just keep all of that information in there. And then also it's really good to have your information for your pets too. So if you travel with your pets, you want to keep your pets information into that pack. So don't leave your house until you have all the information that you need in case there's an emergency. Okay, number 4, your pre-trip communication plan. Okay, so this is important. Now, if you're a solo woman and you only report to yourself and you have no other family, then, it's always a good idea to have a friend or somebody else that you can give information to about where you're headed. Okay, or if you're like me and you're married, before I head out, I let my husband know of my itinerary, and I probably still tell my mom my itinerary and my dad, because it's just what I do. But I let them know where I'm going, about how many miles I plan on driving that particular day, and then where I end up, where I plan on sleeping. And the reason that I give people this information is safety, right? As a woman, one of the biggest questions people have for us is safety. And so one of the things that is great now about technology is you can have like find a friend, and so you and your spouse or your friends, they can track each other on their Find My iPhone app. And then, or you can use Google Maps. There's a way where you can track people on Google Maps, and that one is especially helpful because if you're using Google Maps to drive, then it'll ping where you've been, and whoever, so like for me, my husband, he can go and he can just look at the Google Map and say, oh gosh, I haven't heard from her in a while, where is she? And if he sees, oh, she's in the campground, and she's not moving around, chances are maybe I don't have great cell phone service or something, but he's able to track me. And so one of the things is like, it's not creepy to have people track you. I don't think, if it's your friends and family, especially when you're out on the road, you can turn those things off when you get back home. But for me, it's a peace of mind to know that somebody knows where I'm at, because there are plenty of times where I've gotten to my campsite and then I've had no cell phone service, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. A lot of women ask is, how do you find a safe place to stay? So number 5 is, how do you find a safe place to stay? And you guys, it's just trial and error. A lot of times, I will talk to people. I am members of a couple of different Facebook groups, Airstream Facebook groups, Tab Facebook groups, Fleetwood Facebook groups, RVing Women Facebook groups, FMCA Facebook groups, and a lot of times I'll get information of great places to stay by like word of mouth. And so I know that I'm staying at a safe place, but we can't always know that, right? So then what do you do? And so what I like to use is I use some apps, and one of the apps that I like to use is either iOverlander or Allstays. I also use Campendium. And what I do is I go and I look at the site that I want to stay at, whether it's an off-grid location, whether it's an RV park, and I look at ratings and what people say. And if like the first few comments are like sketch, then no, I'm not going to stay there unless I absolutely have to. And so, I always look about what people have to say about my particular place where I'm going to be staying. So that's just how I do it. I usually check in more than one place. So like I said, with your apps, you want probably, if you want to go more off-grid places, more free parking, iOverlander. You want to use All Stays, because All Stays gives real feedback, real time. And then online, like in a browser, Campendium works really great, and also great feedback about where you're going to stay. And I know that there's other sites too, and I've used those as well, but usually personal feedback is how I choose where to stay safe. I also like to stay at state parks, national parks, and if I'm driving across country and I know that I might be stopping for the night in a place that is along the interstate, I'm gonna choose probably a KOA or an RV resort, and I'm gonna drive my little trailer and I'm gonna pull through in a site, and I'm gonna know that I'm in a safe location where if I needed something, somebody is gonna come and find me. And yeah, sometimes it's more expensive to stay in places like that, but if I know I'm paying $55 a night for peace of mind, for me, that's okay. I don't do it all the time, but you know, just when I'm by myself, especially in an area that might not be so desirable, I always want to make sure that I err on the side of caution. The next thing that I was going to say is number 6, peace of mind. Peace of mind. Like, what do you do when you're RVing? Like, how do you keep yourself safe? And like, once you're at an RV park, always be aware of your surroundings. Always trust your gut. If you feel weird about something, then leave. If you're feeling uncomfortable or uneasy, there's probably a reason for it. And so there's nothing wrong. I've gotten to places before and been like, nope, not staying here. And I've turned around and I've left. Because more often than not, my gut tells me I need to be in a different location, and I just kind of go with that. But once you get to your site, you know, once you get set up, what are some things that you can do to keep yourself safe? One of the things that I just recently did is I bought some lights off of Amazon, and they're magnetic, so they kind of like pop into the spots that I've put some adhesive. I've got a couple underneath my RV, because somebody told me that critters and like snakes and stuff, if a motion light, if they sense that, then chances are they're not gonna like hide out underneath there, and I don't like snakes and bugs, so I'm gonna do that. But also I have one by my door, so if somebody happens to walk by my door, then the light is gonna go on. So, you know, for me, that's a safety measure. Also, while I'm on the road, one of the things that I think is super important is to know your weather. I have a weather band radio that I use, but I also rely on apps a lot to track the weather. And, you know, you'd think that I would RV during times of the year that it's safe, but for some reason, I have been caught in multiple tornadoes in my life. And one of my first times taking my RV out by myself, I was in a tornado in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I had a girlfriend camping with me, and she and I just sat and we watched the tornado like go across the sky, and it was totally crazy. But like, weather is so important. And so if you don't have a weather band radio, one of the things that I suggest is that Twitter, that you can follow on Twitter. You can follow different areas. You can follow the National Weather Service, and you can get alerts. AccuWeather is a great tool. Their app is fantastic, and then they also have different areas on Twitter where the AccuWeather will give you updates on severe weather, and so you can just kind of be abreast of the situation and what's going on. You know, if you don't use Twitter for anything else, it is a great tool to keep you up to date on the things that are going on in your area, believe it or not. And there's more than just like AccuWeather. There's in the National Weather Service. You've also got the Weather Channel and other places that will provide people information on imminent weather in the area. Also, besides the lights, one of the things is like, well, people, how do they know that you're a solo RV? You know, most of the people who I run into in campgrounds are very nice, and they want to sit and they talk to me, and they find out I'm by myself, because yes, I do tell people if I'm feeling uneasy, then no, I don't. But a lot of times when people find out, they've invited me to dinner, to sit outside and have drinks with them. They ask me about my life on the road. Generally, where I stay, I have really great interactions with people, and so I feel safe. But if I didn't feel safe, what would I do? There have been times, because I have cute campers, especially when I had my tab, I'd be working or something in my RV, and people come and peer in my window, like they're staring in my window. I'm like, what the heck? You know, I'm in here. And so some people talk about like leaving 2 chairs outside or leaving a pair of men's boots outside. I don't do that because, again, snakes. And I go to the desert a lot, but I don't advertise that I'm alone. Like, I don't make it very clear, but I do have some things in place besides the lights. I also like to carry a little whistle on my RV keys, which I wear around my neck, because I've learned that if I go to the bathroom and my keys are like in my pocket or something, it could fall out, and then what do you do? I also have a spare key that's going to be mounted underneath my RV in a spot where people can't find it or know that it's there, just for peace of mind in case I happen to lose my keys. I am planning on, this is up to you guys. I carry a firearm when I travel. Yes, I'm aware of the carry and conceal laws of the places that I go. But I might put something, I've been told, people put like NRA stickers on their door, or that they travel with their dog on their door, or something to alert people that maybe, you are taking care of yourself, and that, don't come and knock on your door. And so one of the things I'm going to probably do is I'm going to probably put like a cute vinyl on my, because everything has to be cute, right? I'm a girl. A cute vinyl on something that like travels with best friend Glock. Because, if people are going to come peer in my window, are they going to be so willing to do it if they know that I'm prepared if I need to take care of myself? Obviously, that's not the first thing that you're going to want to do. Mace is a good idea. I have a whistle. I carry that whistle with me to make a loud noise. A baseball bat. There's plenty of other things that you can do. I'm not saying to pull out your firearm. I'm just saying that I do travel with it for peace of mind, and I'm okay with that. I don't care. I think that I'm trained, and I feel like that it's a safe thing for me to have, but it's not going to be my first resort ever. So that's just one of the things that I do to keep myself prepared for the inevitable. Hopefully nothing bad happens. The next thing is how to troubleshoot a sticky situation. So number 7, how to troubleshoot a sticky situation. And that is even just hard to say. You guys, I rely on my Facebook groups. So do so many other women, especially like when you have friends in the RV community who have the same type of rig as you do. So if you're out and about and something happens, like, your air conditioning won't work, or your lights won't come on, or there's water pouring out of your water heater, what do you do? A lot of times, you can go through all the manuals, but they're not always easy to read or user friendly. And even a lot of times, all of the information isn't there. So I really rely on my friends in the RV community to ask questions when I need help with something. Okay, and it could be a sticky situation, as in, I don't even know. I don't even want to try and guess. But like, I do take other people's experiences into consideration, and I trust them because they're going to give me advice that will help me. Speaking of that, when I do talk to people online, so if I'm having a bad situation, I don't know how to handle it, and I'm by myself and I can't figure it out, and I go to my RV community, I'd never say, oh, guess where I'm at? I'm at blah, blah, blah. Usually when I'm posting things on either Instagram or Facebook, Twitter once in a while, but I'm the world's worst Twitter. I don't usually post my whereabouts until a couple of days later. So I'm usually like retro about where I've stayed, because people don't need to know where I'm at. It's the number one thing about safety. So yes, reach out to community, ask questions, but don't give your whereabouts. But to me, I would say probably 95% of the time, I can get an answer from somebody in one of my RV communities about the things that I need to figure out in my sticky situation. And a lot of times they've been able to talk me off a cliff. I've even like gone on Instagram and said, help, I can't get, like, I remember when my chains were not hooking onto the truck properly, and I'm like, I can't figure out how to do this. And somebody responded to me and said, you need to go get this kind of clamp, and then this is going to work. And I was like, okay. And that person just kind of like talked me off a cliff, and I'm like, oh, I can do this. And I went to the store and I bought what I needed. Thankful to the RV community for that. So, that is a great thing. So use your friends, use your family, get yourself out of those sticky situations. Number 8, technology toolbox. Okay, you guys, there's way too many things for me to talk about technology, but I am going to talk about a few things. I use a lot of apps. I already mentioned some before. You want to make sure that you've got the tools that you need, to monitor the wind. I was camping in BLM land 2 weekends ago, and it was like gusting up to 40-mile-per-hour wind. So I have a wind app, and I checked the wind, and I was like, yeah, it's not going to get any better. And so I use technology to help me with the things that I need help with. Also, one of the things that I've got one of these Garmins, and these here are great. And we ended up getting this after my first experience. I think about 2 years ago, I went to Rifle Gap State Park, which is in Colorado, and I was going to hike Canyon Lake. And when I got to Rifle Gap, there was a big fire close by, and it was beautiful, and I felt totally safe there, but I didn't have cell phone service. And so it kind of just made me feel uneasy. I'm like, here I am by myself. What happens if the fire gets closer? I have no cell phone service. How am I going to communicate with my husband or the people that I love to let them know I'm okay? And so we purchased this Garmin, and this thing it's a GPS, but also you can send texts via satellite, and like you can send a text to like a phone to let somebody know that you're okay. You have to buy the plan, but we only turn the plan on once in a while, like when we know we're going to be off grid. And so, because on occasion, now I check to see what the cell phone service is like where I'm going, but there's still chances where I'm not going to have cell phone service. And so given that, this is a great tool to help me feel like I've got peace of mind when I'm traveling, especially by myself. I also picked up this. It's in the box because I have not used it. I bought it at the digital convention from Techno RV. This is a WeBoost, and I'm really excited to have this set up. I haven't done it yet because COVID, and I've been at home. But I'm excited to have this because I do like to go off grid, and I found that I really like to boondock, and I don't always want to be in RV parks. And because I write for a living and I edit for a living, if I've got an article to write, I'm going to need to do research. I'm going to need this bad boy here. You guys use your FMCA technology, let it help you. I've got the Verizon hotspot, the MiFi, through FMCA. I've got that plan. And then I use my discounts and deals through FMCA to get things that I need to work. So I'm really excited. So if you guys have used this before, please let me know what you think. But thank you to Techno RV for extending your seminar discount to everybody. I was able to order this, and I'm really excited to set it up. When I say set it up, have my husband set it up. He's better at this kind of stuff than I am. So then you ask, well, if you're by yourself and you're soloing, how would you figure it out? I'd figure it out, and I'd do it myself. But I'd probably be frustrated, and that's okay, because that happens too. And I figure it out, and then usually I understand things better once I figure things out on my own. Number 9, how to get out of your driveway. Okay, women, you want to go out on your own, but you're scared. My suggestion to you is make a plan. My very first time out on the road by myself, I left my house and I went to a KOA about 30 miles away maybe. And I chose a KOA because I knew that I was close enough to home. I was in a safe location, and it was a great spot for me to just get out of my driveway and like sit with my RV and mess around with the things inside of my RV and figure out the things that I needed to figure out. If you keep your RV in your driveway or in your storage facility or whatever, you're just going to keep sitting there and keep planning. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. If you make that reservation, you're gonna go, right? So do it smart. I do have a blog written on this topic about getting out of your driveway, and I think I talk about 20 different things to do to get out of your driveway and what you need to do at the RV park to kind of get yourself acclimated as a solo female RVer. So check that one out. And last, number 10, female camping friends. You guys, this is the biggest thing. Like, I make friends wherever I go. When there's people who love RVing, and I've been lucky enough, I'm part of some organizations here in Colorado, and I've been lucky enough, I do post on social media. I post pictures of what I do on Instagram, and one of my friends I met on Instagram, believe it or not, I know that's weird, she had been following me, and she knew friends of mine, so she wasn't like a total creeper, right? Like, she knew of me, and I knew her kids went to high school with my stepkids, so we knew of each other. But I was camping last summer, and as I was pulling into the campsite, she's pointing and looking at me, and she recognizes my tab, and she's like, came over and talked to me. Well, she said, I always want to go off by myself too. And so I'm like, well, let's go camping together. So she and I planned a camping trip, and the two of us went off and we did the solo female RVing thing together. And then after a couple of weeks, she got back and she talked to another lady at another camp out. She was there with her husband, and the other lady was there with her husband, and she's like, oh, well, Meg. And they're like, oh, I know Meg, because again, social media, right? And, so they call me and they're like, hey, her name was Laura. Hey, Laura wants to go camping by herself, but she's apprehensive and her husband's not sure about it. And I was like, let's do it. So Laura, Amanda, and I went to a state park just 25 minutes up the road to Cherry Creek State Park, and the three of us camped together for 3 or 4 days, and we walked through the process of RVing, the things that we needed to be safe. We had conversations, we helped each other set things up, and you guys, like, nothing is more valuable than the community of females together. We support each other, we help each other. And so when I say I meet people, if there's somebody that's interested and I know them or I know of them, of course, I'm going to talk to them. I've had people call me or email me and ask me questions about my rig, and women in other states. And I've had a conversation with them. Nothing that doesn't hurt. Like, if you want to talk about RVing, I want to talk about RVing. Like, our community is amazing, and even stronger is that community of female RVers, whether you're doing it alone or not alone. So I say rely on your friends, rely on your community, find a group. You don't have to be part of a big group. You're going to find people that you can connect with and communicate with, and go out until you feel comfortable doing things on your own. So those are my 10 topics. I'm sure that I've missed something, so I'm going to direct you to my blog. It's at herfinemess.com. herfinemess.com, and you can read some of the posts. I've also got some links to other articles that I've written. Like I said, I'm a little bit behind on it, but what can you do? It's life. Anyway, I hope that this digital seminar was not just a bunch of rambling and a bunch of craziness. I'm sure that I could organize this better if I was a professional YouTuber, but I'm not. So I hope that if you have questions, that you send me messages, that you reach out to me, that you follow me on social media, and that hopefully that we will get to run into each other at Perry. And in Perry, we can have conversations. We can talk face to face. What are your concerns? What are the things that you have questions about? How can we help each other and to help to continue building our community of female RVers? So thanks for dealing with me and all of this craziness, and I hope that all of you guys are doing okay, and that all of you are safe and able to hit the road soon. Bye.